I recently had the opportunity to hang out during a 3-day Essential Playing Skills Vision54 golf school and wanted to share some of my thoughts on the experience because it's one worth sharing. So Vision54, if you don't know, Lynn, Marriott and Nilsson are two world-class golf coaches, and they focus on the human skills or some parts of the game that not many other people focus on to help you play better golf on the golf course. So far more than just technique. And my thoughts, I was blown away. As you know, I like research. I like looking at what the research says and then how do we apply it. And they are incredible at this. They love looking at the research, but the most amazing part is that they take that and they're able to communicate it really simply with everyone from a tour-bound player to someone trying to break 100 and make it really practical so they can go out and do an exercise and understand how it applies to them. They use the acronym PTMESS, which stands for Physical, Technical, Mental, Emotional, Social, and Spirit of the game. So they're focused on all the aspects of playing great golf. You know, in golf, the current paradigm, we look at one, which is technical. And the reality is, we need to look at all of these. Because if you're a coach and you're a teacher or you're a student, you're trying to get better at the game and actually see improvement, you need to focus on everything. And so I love the emphasis on these skills and these things that we just don't talk enough about in the golf industry. And I believe that they're on the leading edge of this paradigm shift toward looking at them. I believe I see more and more people understanding that what they're doing is not working and that we need to look at golf holistically. And that acronym, PTMESS, is really looking at golf holistically. The reality is this doesn't have to be complicated or difficult for students to understand. If you give simple frameworks and exercises for students to gain awareness, any player can grasp it. And that's what I saw time and time again during the days that I spent out observing and watching how they coached these players. Another thing that I loved was everything had a purpose. Whether it was out on the course, different holes had different purposes, or helping students find what they were going to focus on, or on the range, how there were exercises. And so every shot had a specific framework that you were going through. So there was no mindlessly beating balls. There was no mindlessly falling into a routine where no learning or no growth was happening. Where there's purpose, there's growth, and there's learning. And that was one thing that really stood out throughout every day and every minute of the golf school. If you have simple frameworks to explain this, it becomes so much easier. And that's what they did at Vision54 so well, was the exercises, the drills, the education was just paired perfectly so that you could actually figure out how to apply it in your own game and in your own life. And one thing they talk about is taking these skills to the golf course. And they definitely did that. Every day of the school, they took the players out on the course to apply what they learned. And they coached on the course. There's a coach with every group. And it makes so much sense, right? If you're going to learn something and you're going to practice in a practice setting, and you're going to try to figure that out there, why wouldn't you want to take it to the course and see how it works in a real-life performance scenario? So that's what they did. And when I was talking with some of the other coaches on the team, this was their favorite part. Their favorite part was working with students on the golf course. So, they're not only working on these playing skills, but then they're applying the skills on the course. It's the perfect scenario and something that we need to see more of in the golf world. We need to see more coaches and more students working together on the golf course to figure out how to help that player get the most out of their game where it matters. And that's on the tee box with water or out of bounds on the right-hand side when the pressure comes up. And having someone there to help you figure out how to cope with that and come up with a good strategy so you can succeed in a pressure situation like that. So as you can tell, I am pretty pumped up about this and pretty passionate that every golfer needs to focus on these human skills. They need to focus on far more than just technique, and they need to focus on learning and accessing what they already have so they can perform better on the course. And thank you so much to the Vision54 team, the coaches, Lynn, Pia, Christine, Tiffany, Zach. It was awesome to hang out with y'all, and thank you so much for having me out. And if you can't go through and go to the golf school, which I recommend you should, get started with this. They have this app here, and you can start going through some exercises, some drills. So I talked about how they easily take this research and education and make it applicable. Start going through some drills and just get an idea of what they're talking about. It's super good. Just the Vision54 app. They also have this My Game online golf school. They've taken everything in their in-person golf school, put it online. I've been going through it just to make sure I'm understanding concepts and have a better idea of it. It's amazing. My Game online golf school. Check it out. We need to have this paradigm shift of going from just focusing on one aspect of the game to focusing on the holistic experience. And that's what they did so well at the Vision54 Golf School. It wasn't fake, it wasn't pushed, it wasn't too airy and too big that nobody really got it or got anything out of it. It was very practical and very applicable. And so I encourage you, if you're a coach or you're a student, figure out how to start gaining awareness, whether it's getting the app and going through some of the drills, or whether it's doing some reading or just going out and working on the other skills of the game, whether it's the mental, the emotional, the social, the spirit of the game, all of those aspects, and don't just focus on technical.